Welcome back, procurement managers and supply chain directors. Let's jump right into today's explainer because we're tackling something absolutely critical. We are unpacking the make or break foundation for your 2026 sourcing strategy. Look, logistics isn't just about booking cargo anymore, right? It has evolved into a really high-stakes procurement decision. So whether your operation demands premium white glove service or just pure port-to-port bulk efficiency, we're going to give you the exact matchmaking playbook you need to get this right.
Okay, quick look at the agenda. We've got 1 procurement perspective, 2 top 5 forwarders, 3 cost control strategies, 4 Incoterms guide, and 5 2026 green rules. Let's dive in.
Section 1, Procurement Perspective.
I want you to ask yourself a seriously uncomfortable question right off the bat. Is your freight forwarder protecting your margins, or are they secretly destroying them? Because in global trade, the cost of poor supply chain visibility is honestly staggering. If you don't know exactly where your freight is at all times and what extra fees are quietly piling up, well, all those hard-won discounts you grinded for during procurement, they'll be completely wiped out in transit.
It usually comes down to what we call the triad of logistics risks. First up, demurrage and detention fees. These aren't just annoying, they can snowball in literally a matter of days and end up exceeding the value of the actual cargo. Crazy, right? Second, customs compliance risks. Things like strict HTS code audits where just one tiny misclassification triggers massive fines. And finally, the fatal blow, inaccurate landed costing. If your forwarder drops the ball on any of these 3, your final retail pricing becomes totally uncompetitive. It renders all your initial sourcing efforts basically useless.
Moving into Section 2, Top 5 Forwarders. Think of this next part as a high-stakes matchmaking session tailored directly for your specific supply chain. There's really no absolute best forwarder out there. It's a myth. There is only the one that perfectly fits your buyer profile, your digital maturity, and your pricing tier. So let's break down the industry giants, looking at their core strengths and figuring out exactly who they're built for.
Let's kick things off with Sinotrans, the national infrastructure leader. As China's state-owned powerhouse, they are basically the backbone of export infrastructure over there. If you're an industrial importer, buying in heavy bulk and you desperately need guaranteed space protection for massive FOB sea freight volumes, these guys are your go-to. Their deep influence at the ports makes them absolutely essential for raw scale. Now, you might trade off some slick modern digital interfaces for that sheer muscle, but for volume, they're unmatched.
Next is Kuehne plus Nagel, or K plus N. We'll call them the Premium Precision Partner. If you are managing incredibly high-value ODM or OEM projects, K plus N is like the ultimate guardian of your product integrity. They offer ridiculously strict ISO-certified handling and flawless compliance. Now yes, they absolutely come with a premium price tag, but for enterprise brand owners where a single mishandled pallet literally costs thousands of dollars, that premium is basically a critical insurance policy.
Now let's contrast 2 completely different flavors of extreme efficiency. On one hand, you have DHL Global Forwarding. They dominate physical space with the fastest air bridge network in the game, making them perfect for high-frequency e-commerce brands that need rapid restocks. On the other hand, you have Flexboard, the digital ecosystem pioneer. They completely flipped the script on visibility with full API data integration. They are tailor-made for modern tech brands who want to manage their entire supply chain purely through software dashboards.
And rounding out our top 5, we have Carry Logistics, the intra-Asia specialist. Look, as the China Plus One sourcing strategy becomes pretty much mandatory for a lot of buyers, Carry absolutely dominates this space. If your procurement spans the Greater Bay Area but also stretches into neighboring spots like Vietnam or Thailand, they are the clear, no-brainer choice. They seamlessly link complex retail chains across multiple Asian borders straight out to the global markets.
Let's pivot to Section 3, Cost Control Strategies.
If you take one thing away from this explainer, let it be this absolute golden rule: NVOC verification. Do not, under any circumstances, work with an agent lacking a non-vessel operating common carrier license. Doing that is legally equivalent to letting a total stranger drive your company car without a driver's license. Actually, it's worse. It's a massive financial liability. This license is the only proof that they are bonded, legally recognized, and actually capable of issuing their own bills of lading.
So to make strict cost management actionable for your team, you need to follow a tight 4-step sourcing workflow. Step 1. During the RFQ phase, demand a line-by-line breakdown of local charges. No vague buckets. Step 2. Run your comparisons strictly on total landed costs, never just the base freight rate. Step 3. Lock down communication through solid API integrations so you aren't chasing emails. And Step 4.
Actively use your custom strategy to optimize your final sourcing price.
Now, what's really interesting about this approach is that it completely exposes the oldest trap in the logistics industry. So many inexperienced buyers get lured in by a seemingly ultra-low initial freight rate, only to get absolutely hammered with exorbitant destination fees once the cargo actually arrives. A cheap freight rate paired with hidden destination charges will destroy your quarterly budget. Landed cost is and always will be your only true metric. 13%. Why does that matter? Well, that is the China export VAT rebate percentage for a lot of manufactured goods. Now, you might be thinking, hey, supplier tax rebates aren't my problem as a buyer. But actually, they are your secret weapon. If your freight forwarder expertly manages the export paperwork, your factory gets that 13% rebate quickly and reliably. And when you know they're getting that cash back, you can negotiate far better overall product pricing right at the source. A smart forwarder literally buys you leverage at the negotiation table.
Section 4. Incoterms Guard.
So the crucial point here when drawing up these contracts is understanding exactly where the physical handover happens. With EXW or Ex Works, your forwarder has to pick up the cargo right at the factory door. That means you are absorbing all the inland transport costs and local export risks in China. But with FOB or Free on Board, the supplier handles the transport and the risk right up until that cargo is physically loaded onto the ship at the port. For the vast majority of international buyers, FOB is still going to be your safest balance of cost and control.
Finally, Section 5. 2026 Green Rules.
Look, carbon tracking, it's no longer just a nice, feel-good PR talking point. Enter CBAM, the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. If you're shipping into Europe, this is a strict, mandatory carbon emissions reporting requirement. Green logistics and detailed emissions reports are shifting overnight from optional, little value adds to hard, mandatory procurement rules in 2026. This is exactly why industry leaders like K+N and DHL have already hardwired this tracking into their standard frameworks. If you can't report it, you can't ship it.
So, wrapping this all up, faced with impending carbon taxes as a mandatory procurement reality, skyrocketing digital demands, and super volatile costs, you really have to ask yourself, is your current logistics partner truly ready for 2026? Are they built for this new landscape? If you're hesitating even a little bit, right now is the time to deeply audit your logistics strategy. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we'll catch you on the next one.